Good morning, ma'am. Denise, good morning. How are you? What is your full name, ma'am?
Denise Amaral Fernandez.
Denise, my name is Tiago. I am a judge and I am responsible here for presiding over this hearing and now for conducting your interrogation, all right? All right. What is your current address, Denise?
Actually, now I live in the rural area because of everything that happened, and so we end up not having an address, but it's in the rural region of Araucaria.
Okay, but if I wanted, for example, to send you a letter,
It can be sent to my other property, which is in Fazenda Rio Grande, Pernambuco Street, number 888, House 1.
but then how would I find you? Does that rural area have a name?
Yes, it does. There isn't really a street because there's no postal code there, right? It's pretty close, not too far, but also not that close. But yes, it's possible to find it.
That's great then. What's your profession?
I'm trained as an occupational safety technician.
And,
I'm in my first year of engineering.
okay, and what do you do for a living?
Currently, as a workplace safety technique, the preferred method is hybrid home office.
I understood. Approximate monthly income, how much do you earn on average per month? Minimum wage, bro.
2,500, 2,900 Rs.
I understood. You already said that you are also studying engineering at university. Is that right? Yes.
First A.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes, I have 2 girls.
How old are they?
Sara Fernandez, she is 6 years old, and Milena Fernandez da Rosa, she is 3.
And do both of them live with you?
Yes, okay.
Okay. Besides this criminal case, do you have any others?
No, never.
How old are you today?
Today I am 32.
Okay. Illness. Do you have any?
I do. Well, I developed quite a few problems, after what happened because it was really a huge trauma for me. In fact, if Your Honor allows me, I would like to sincerely ask for forgiveness with all my heart. To you, Mr. Adriano, okay? It's very sad because our whole family is suffering. But I would like you to know that if you were in my place, he wanted to kill me. Everything I went through.
Denise, look, why don't we just continue right here for a moment?
Thanks.
The appropriate time here is for the interrogation to take place and for you to give your version of what happened. Nothing prevents you from later, if that's the case, having contact with the victim's family if they also wish so. But this is not the appropriate time to do it that way. You have lawyers, they are present here, and you have already spoken with them as well. Are you also aware of the charges?
Yes.
All right, great. So, from now on, you are not required to answer the questions I ask. If you wish, you may remain silent. This will not harm you. However, on the other hand, this is your opportunity to give your version of what happened. And if what is stated here is true, and you admit or confess to it, in the event of a conviction, your sentence may be mitigated, that is, it may be reduced because of this confession, all right? Yes. Given that, are you interested in answering the questions or not? Would you prefer to remain silent?
Yes, I am interested. I do want to answer.
The first question is actually quite simple. The Public Prosecutor's Office states that on December 2nd, 2017 at around 5 a.m., in a public place on Elvira Marquezine Street in front of number 234 in the Cite Cercado neighborhood here in Curitiba, you, Denise Amaral Fernandez, together with Jackson, Humphrey, and Andrade Diaz, allegedly using Norma Branca, an object that was not seized. Thank you. Killed the victim, Maico Alex Garcia de Lima, by striking him with the aforementioned weapon, which hit the left anterior hemithorax region of the victim, ultimately causing his death. Basically, what we have here is an accusation of attempted homicide, or rather, of consummated homicide, which has been attributed to you. The Public Prosecutor's Office states that you were responsible for stabbing the victim, while Jackson contributed materially, intellectually, and morally to the commission of the homicide, since he allegedly planned the execution with you, as well as drove you to the location where the victim was, in a white Corsa vehicle, and then afterwards helped you escape after the victim's death. Basically, that's the accusation. Are these facts true or false?
Yes, they're true.
What happened in this episode, Denise?
We were at my restaurant. We stayed a little later than usual. And anyway, we closed up.
Was it this restaurant?
It's at Deguste on Marty Street. My restaurant, my establishment.
You had a restaurant?
Time? Yes. Christina was my employee.
Okay, and who was with you at the restaurant?
That day, my uncle was there. I used to let him use the front area to make skewers, And there I was, Christine, my employee, my uncle who sold kebabs, some other customers, Jackson, Christine, and my husband who arrived later. When we went to pick him up, I had an accident. At the time he was in the game.
Okay, so what happened? So what?
So that's when we left. From there, my husband went home with my daughter and we stayed there. Then my uncle finished his work. We went inside, closed the door, and spent some time together just among ourselves. By then, it was already quite late, actually. We left. My uncle went to his house. Jackson went to his. Everyone went home. And it was just me left. And Chris, who is Christine. Then I said to Christine like this, let's go upstairs to the second block, which is close to your house, right? And I would get a taxi at the stand, which is right in front of the 24-hour UPA, and I would take the taxi to go home because my husband had the car, right? And she said to me, no, lend me your phone, because she asked to borrow my phone. So I lent her my phone. I didn't really understand why, because I was also really tired that day. It was a really exhausting day and all that. And then suddenly, she said, I called Maiko, but I didn't call him Maiko. She used a nickname. It's Kiko, that's what she said. And then it was really quick. He arrived and he showed up really agitated. The two of them started arguing really badly. And I remember that at first I didn't get involved in their fight because I already knew it was their business. And I started to leave, and I remember it so clearly, like it was today, He said, as I was leaving, he said, hey, you. Then I said, no, I'm going home. He said, no, she called me, now you're getting in my car. And I said, no, I'm not getting in your car. And he grabbed me by the hair and threw me into the car. So I got in the car. She went to the back seat and I sat in the front seat. He started attacking me and sped up the car. I threatened to open the door and I actually did, then he stopped. When he stopped, he kept going, I kept going, and then a car passed by. I didn't really ask for a ride or anything. At first I wasn't asking anyone for a ride, but the guy saw that I was really hurt and very nervous. And then he said, do you need anything, miss? And I was there crying and I said to myself, I really do need some help. Then, at that exact moment, I thought of Fernando, who is Lillian's husband, whom we have known for a long time, their whole family anyway. And I said, please take me there. Can you give me a ride, please? I really need to get there right now. He said, no, miss, I'll take you, yes. And he took me. And when I got there, I was shouting, Lillian, for God's sake, there was a guy. He came at me, he attacked me, and now he's there with Chris. What do we do? I'm nervous. I need to do something. I'm going to call the police. Then I even remember that the other guy who was there, he said, no, don't call the police. We need to see how she is. And there came a moment when I thought, my God, I remember it like it was today, My God, what do I do? Should I go back? Because he had already attacked me, right? And I was really scared. So I went to the kitchen, got a glass of water and drank it, and I looked at a small serrated knife. And I thought, my God, but not with the intention to kill or anything like that. Never, oh no, never, I'm going to call Jackson and I'm going to ask him to take me there to see if she's okay. But I'm going to take it just in case something happens, not with the intention of hurting anyone, especially him, because I wasn't angry. Not at all, There was never any anger, but I was very worried about her. I admit that I made a mistake because maybe I shouldn't have gone back, But I was very worried about her because she used to get beaten by him a lot. But anyway, so I called Jackson because my husband, he was at the farm. Rio Grande, you see, several kilometers away. And I also didn't want to bother him to come all the way and everything. So I remembered Jackson because he was always very reliable, always helped us out anyway. And I called Jackson to take me at first home, but I said, Jackson, let's stop by there to see how she's doing because I always advised her a lot not to get involved with him, and I was worried. So when I passed by, when I got in front of his house, I looked and shouted, Chris! Then she came out, she said, my God, are you okay? And he didn't give any space. I was carrying a small purse. I didn't have the knife in my hand. It was inside my purse. And then he didn't give me time. He was very aggressive. He came running, pushed past her, opened the gate, and hit me. He hit me a lot. There was a moment when he put me in a chokehold, like a rear naked choke, and I couldn't breathe. I started struggling, even trying to grab the little knife from my purse, but I didn't stab him multiple times. Never, ever. I just grabbed the knife like it was a butter knife and did this like, get off, but that was enough, And then I saw that he was like that. He had a gun. At that moment, he pulled the gun on me. And I was terrified. I started crying. Jackson started getting nervous because we're not used to this kind of situation anyway. And I said, let's go. What happened? What is this? And he was still like that, staggering backward, and then he fell. And then I left the place. I don't remember anything because I was in shock, It was a huge trauma for me, really, really big. It was just too much.
Did you previously know the victim or not?
No, I wasn't friends with her because we always saw that he was very violent. Up until then, during her work hours, I was always bothering her, Chris, get off the phone. She used to argue with Fatima using curse words, really low-level language, Fatima would send messages saying things like, you're with my husband, so-and-so. And then she would reply and I would say, Chris, let it go, that's not for you. I don't know why he was so angry with me, but he knew I didn't approve. And she was someone who had problems with alcohol, Chris, And I always tried to help her in every possible way, including with that particular relationship, truly and genuinely. I never got formally involved in that matter, but I always strongly advised her not to stay close to him because he was always so violent and aggressive. She would often come to work all bruised up and shaken, It was really quite visible to everyone. And unfortunately, I only went to defend myself. Totally. But the question
that was asked is another one. I asked how long you had known him.
Yes, through her it had been... I think our friendship started 4 or 5 years ago way before. But as for her talking about him a year, it wasn't even a year, that she was seeing him. Because you see, everything that happened regarding him, whatever I found out was through her, you understand? Whether it was about her getting jealous too, even though she was the other lover anyway. And it's very sad. It's all really very sad,
Okay. So you said he pulled out a gun, is that right?
He did. He pulled out a gun. He pulled out a gun to kill me, Because he beat me a lot. He beat me a lot. I didn't have any choice at the time. He didn't give me time for anything. It was very fast. He came at me in such a way that I started to struggle. It was by God's divine luck. Today I say, Lord, God gave me so much mercy that day, because if it wasn't meant for me to be dead, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't.
Exactly how many different times have you been questioned? Talked about these events?
Sorry, what?
Is today the third time you are talking about these events? In other words, the third time you are being questioned?
Yes. It took me a while in any case, to come forward because I wasn't in any condition to do so. I remember that this incident happened on a Saturday around 6 in the morning, and I went to turn myself in on Monday with my lawyer because he had advised me and all that. And after that, I was admitted to the hospital because I really wasn't in any condition. It was the third time.
The question I asked is as follows. How many times have you spoken about this incident? That is, have you been questioned? Is this the...
Wait, is this really the third time? Actually, this is already the fourth time. No, it's 3 times.
3 times or 4?
4 with this one, that I'm here now.
At the police station you were questioned? How many times?
It was only once, but they took a break because I wasn't in any condition,
But after all, was it once or twice? I didn't understand.
The first time was when I presented myself, then there was the accusation hearing, then the defense hearing, and today is here.
Okay, but when you were heard here to talk, for you to say what happened?
It was the second. This is the second time.
It's the second?
Yes, the first was the accusation. I couldn't say anything.
Okay, but look, at the police station, weren't you questioned by a police chief? Or a female chief at the homicide division?
Yes, that's right. That was the first time. Good.
Then after the hearing?
Probably then the hearing and here where I'm speaking about the incident, yes.
Okay, fine. Do you happen to remember exactly what you told the police back at the station?
Look, Your Honor, I was incredibly nervous and anxious. They even had to stop and take a short break, right? Because honestly, I don't remember, like, from beginning to end, of my statement. I can tell you that I really don't remember.
Who was there with you when you were questioned at the police station?
My sister. She was always by my side, always, always. My mother,
You mentioned that you had a lawyer who even advised you, well, in your own words, instructed you, right? Who was this lawyer?
So he actually, when we were really nervous with this whole situation, the trauma, my mother took care of arranging part of my defense, right? So he was only involved when I turned myself in. After that, he didn't.
Okay, but he was present for this interrogation, so he went with you.
Yes, he was there. Uh-huh.
All right, perfect. When you spoke with the police chief, your sister was there, and there was a police chief. Was there a clerk as well? Yes.
Yes, the police chief was there, the clerk, me and my sister.
And how did that conversation go when you were there? Was the conversation more or less like what we're having here with questions and answers? Yes.
Well, basically.
What did you say about the knife?
So the knife is, it was reported that there were 2 knives, which didn't happen. But anyway, right, that's another question. The knife, when I pushed him, because he was hitting me a lot and I was struggling, I managed to grab it from my little purse that was beside me and I said, "Get away." I just did this, "Get away." Afterwards, I don't remember where the knife ended up because I started crying, I started shaking.
I
Just left the place.
I asked what you said about the knife. Where was that knife? Who took it?
Did you have it with you? So was the knife Lillian's? It was Lillian's because I remember I said it was when I went to get a glass of water in the kitchen. And I took that serrated one and put it in my purse and left.
Okay, and did you tell the police chief that you put it in your purse and that you...
I didn't.
Remember. I don't remember. You said you didn't know where the knife came from. Yeah.
I do not remember. I really did not remember.
Anyway, I'm referring here to the interrogation, moment 14.9. What did you tell the police chief about the firearm?
So, regarding the firearm involved in the incident, while we have come to understand today that it was actually just a replica, at that terrifying moment when he physically injured me, I distinctly felt the heavy, cold weight of the gun pressed against me, and it felt incredibly real. And then when he grabbed me like a chokehold and pulled because he was behind me, he was like this. When he pulled like that, I pushed him and said, "Get off." It was at that moment that he wanted to kill me.
Did you tell the police chief that there was a firearm, even if it was a replica? Or did you not mention that detail? Yes.
Yes. He was armed,
Later, you were questioned in a hearing, which was the CRI, by my colleague, Dr. Michel, a judge who had a
Prosecutor?
female prosecutor, and also with your lawyer. What did you tell the judge at that time regarding these facts? Was it the same thing you told us here today? Or is there a difference?
No, there's no difference. I gave more details. Maybe I hadn't been properly instructed. And I have nothing to lie about, right? Because with the law of men, we might be able to lie, but with God's law, nothing stays hidden. So I gave a lot of details. I was actually very detailed in what I didn't summarize things. I explained a lot of details.
Okay. And then, did you tell the judge where you got that knife from?
At Lillian's when I went to, because no one actually knew, right?
Okay. Did you tell the judge that there was also a firearm in the car and that you saw him drawing the firearm?
Yes. That weapon was there the whole time. Right there,
Exactly how many times did you stab the deceased victim?
It wasn't stabbing. I just pushed, like, "Get out." I just did this, like, "Get out." To this day, I can't believe how it happened, because I didn't stab him multiple times. I never intended to kill anyone. Never. That's not who I am,
And,
It's very sad. It's very sad.
okay, where did the stab wound land?
At that exact moment, I honestly didn't know because I was just desperately trying to get out of that terrifying situation so I wouldn't end up dead myself in the process. But later, as time went by, they said that at first I heard it was above the heart. Yesterday, finally, we found out that it hit right on the vein up here. And
How many stab wounds were there?
No, just one. I just pushed him.
When you were questioned by the police, did you say it was one stab wound and that you just pushed him?
Yeah, no, I remember I was so nervous because at the moment it happened, I was completely out of myself, you know. I arrived really nervous and all, and I remember I said that I had stabbed him several times because he died and, things like that. In that moment, you say, my God, did I really stab him that many times? I think I said I stabbed him so many times because he died, but that wasn't my intention in that moment, when it happened. And I said it had been several times, but it wasn't. It was just once. It's even in the report, right?
Denise, the questions I'm asking here are in principle for you to answer according to what actually happened because you were there and you yourself said you were the one who did this.
Yes.
I noticed that more than once you said you hired a lawyer to guide you, to instruct you, and then you went to the police station. But then the lawyer gave you instructions and later checked the report. Actually, it's based on what is recorded is that reports, other witnesses, those are in a way irrelevant. What your lawyer said or didn't say. That's why I am recording your statement here, so you can give your version of what happened. So I asked here about your statement, because there at the police station you said you stabbed several times. At the police station you also said you didn't know where the knife came from. Then later at the hearing you said you grabbed that knife. Before you had already carried that knife in your purse, in your pocket, just like you did here before.
Yes.
So, are you feeling nervous right here, right now?
I am very nervous, yes.
You attributed these conflicting versions you gave, both here at the police station and later in court, to nervousness. So, are you nervous today? Should we take into consideration what you said today at the police station or during the hearing?
Today, for sure. I wasn't like this. I was in shock, actually,
Had you consumed any alcoholic beverages or illicit substances at any point during that day?
No, not drugs. Nowadays, I can't stand it. I don't drink. I got traumatized. I don't even go to parties. I have trauma. No.
On that day, did you use alcohol or drugs?
No, I actually had some beer. If you
don't want to answer, you may remain silent. But I also note here that this isn't the first time I've asked a question and you've answered something else.
All right, okay.
The question is simple and direct. Were you on alcohol or drugs?
Yes. No, not drugs. Alcohol, yeah.
Okay, what did you drink that day?
Beer.
In what quantity?
I'd say probably like 6 or 7 of those glass bottles.
6 or 7 bottles of beer? Yeah, with
everyone together, right?
Okay, tell me, were you actually drunk?
No, not to the point of not knowing what I was doing like that.
Okay, I understand. Aside from the professional relationship you had with Chris, right?
Yes.
Did you also have a friendship with her?
Yes, we had been friends for 4 years already, right? We already had a friendship.
Did you also have a relationship with the victim?
No, I knew him through her, right? But I always told her not to bring him around too much because we already knew he was quite aggressive, I had no contact with him. And as for a friendship, nothing like that.
Okay. How long after did you go to the police station?
The incident happened on Saturday and on Monday.
On Monday?
That's right.
Were you sent to undergo a physical injury examination?
Yes.
And what was the result of this examination? What was the result?
I had a lot of bruises, especially on the inside, because there came a moment when, after I fell to the ground, he kicked me several times. So I ended up with a lot of bruises all over my body.
How did the police find out your name?
I can't say. I turned myself in of my own free will on Monday.
Okay, I understand. And what happened to Christine?
Well, Christine, after that situation, I found out during the first accusation hearing that she wasn't present because she had passed away, right? It was actually very sad.
Okay, so she's deceased. Today, that's it?
Yes, she has passed away.
She was at least heard at the police station.
Yes.
Do you know what she said there?
According to the records, right? That she actually, she lied. But anyway, that was her version.
Of events. She witnessed this whole episode where you were on the street here, where you called, where you were the victim, went over there, where the gentleman was in the car, where he was aggressive. She saw everything.
Yes, she witnessed it. She was really drunk, you know? Out of everyone, she was the most at that moment on that day. But she said that he beat me a lot. That's what I remember. He beat me a lot. She asked him to stop and he wouldn't stop. From what I recall from the records, that's what I remember right now, you know?
Okay, she said that the person who called the victim was you.
No, not at any moment. She called from my cell phone because she didn't have any credit.
Okay. How did the victim get to the restaurant?
The victim didn't get to the restaurant.
How that she met in this case? No.
He didn't arrive. It was like this. We were at the restaurant. We went together, accompanied up to the next corner above because I was going to catch the taxi, which was in front of the 24-hour place, and her house was just above there. So we went up to there, and in that moment when we got there, she asked to borrow my phone, which I remember as if it were today, and called him. When I saw he parked the car, kind of like making a horse move, you know, like a stick horse. Then he got out already really angry. The two of them started arguing, and I didn't at any moment interfere in anything there. That's when I said, no, I'm leaving. And then he got more aggressive and made me get into the car.
Because what Christine says here, or at least what she told the local police station during her official statement, is significantly and fundamentally different from the version of events that you are telling us now. She explicitly says that you personally placed a phone call to the victim, and that the victim subsequently arrived at the designated location with a car. She even described the car here. They got into the victim's car, an Apollo. What kind of car was it? The
Victims, or the one I was in?
The witness said that they then got into the victim's car, an Apollo, with the witness sitting in the front seat, and you were in the back seat.
So actually, she doesn't even say that she was his lover, you know? She wasn't even able to... Do you understand?
Okay, and then she said later, just ahead, right there, you shouted for the victim to stop the car, you got out of the car and got into another car as if that car was already waiting for you.
No. And
She said she doesn't know what kind of car it was, but it was a white car. And then further ahead, right, according to the statement here, Christine says that the victim went to her house, Christine's house, where she was supposed to be dropped off, right? And then when the car stopped in front of the house, she got out of the car, and right after that you arrived in another white vehicle, got out through the passenger door, and then stabbed the victim.
yes, definitely.
It's a story that is substantially, as I said here, different from what you told. What is the reason for, confronting what's in your mind? For you to have lied, then to have made up this story? Well,
So I know I when I read her statement, Your Honor, it was a big surprise to me, because she didn't mention that she was the lover, even though she had all the messages, including arguments with Mrs. Fatima, right? She left out a lot of things. There was a moment I didn't mention, but I'll say it here. After I read her statement, I called her because I just couldn't believe all of that, everything I did for her, all the advice I gave her. And I called her and said, Chris, before she died, why did you do all this? If you knew, you were there with me. She went silent. She didn't say anything. Then in the end, she started crying as if asking for forgiveness, but she didn't say anything else. And she hung up the phone. That was the last time, as far as I remember, that I spoke with her.
okay, great. And finally, did the victim die at the scene?
When I pushed him, because I started struggling a lot, I was in a lot of pain from the assault, and I pushed him and said, get off. I started out and I almost fainted right then and there, but I ran away, absolutely terrified. And I just started crying and crying uncontrollably. And I remember in a fleeting glance looking at him, at this Michael Alex, and he was going to Karma, he was doing it backwards like this. That is really the only thing I remember.
Okay, great. Any more questions?
Only a few? Good morning, Denise.
Good morning.
Denise? The
Better. Lucas, please forgive me. We have another person accused here, Jackson. What does he have to do with this fact?
Nothing. I can't say. Honestly, I would be very inconsistent if I talked about him because I heard that he had some other problems, but anyway, that's not relevant now. It doesn't have anything to do with this. But he was always a good guy, you know? He had lunch at the restaurant every day. He always helped me. A good person. He never disrespected me or my family, not even once. And even on the day I remembered him, right? I told him, for God's sake, come here, please. He said, no, Denise, calm down, don't worry, I'm already on my way. That was the moment I remembered him, you know? That I thought of him to call.
Uh-huh. Okay. Do you know what he said in his interrogation at the police station?
I don't know.
Did he say he had nothing to do with this incident, that he witnessed it, that he wasn't there?
Yes, that he had nothing to do with it, that it really wasn't him, right? Because what the rumors that were going around were that we had planned everything right there on the spot, right? And that's something that didn't happen, never happened, that never.
Okay. He wasn't there that day at that place?
He even went with me to her house before taking me home,
Whose house?
Chris's. When I arrived, Michael Alex came at me, hit me again, and I pushed him and said, stop, enough. And then he was in the car. And when I got there, he started shaking. He almost fainted inside the car from seeing that whole situation, you know?
Okay, and then did you leave with him as well?
Yes, then he was just not himself, right? Everyone, we were all in shock, nervous. We even left the place. We stopped to calm down. I was crying a lot. I didn't know what to do because the whole time I kept thinking about my children, about my life, because it was a really big trauma for me, you know? Because I had never spent a night like that, never gone through such a big trauma with such aggressive people. And for me, it was all very difficult. And it still is to this day. It's
Great. So, public prosecutor's office.
Good morning again, Denise. Just a few questions. Since Dr. Tiago questioned you on several points, later I will address the jury regarding about what you have already said, about what you keep saying, right? So I wanted to ask you something. Miss Fatima is the victim's ex-wife, is that correct?
as far as I know, yes, But up until then, I had never had any contact with her. I only know through Christina that she argued a lot over the phone.
You never had any contact with her?
No, I did have contact with her. Because we're mothers, because we're human beings, you know? I admit I was really scared. But I heard rumors that her little child was having problems. And, since we're human, right? We're not murderers or anything. I gathered a lot of courage and wanted to know about the child. Even though I saved my own life because honestly he was going to kill me. I have no doubt about that. He wanted to kill me. I wanted to ask not only for forgiveness but also to show my sympathy and find out how the child was doing. And she was like really sweet, you know? She opened up to me a lot, told me many things about him, that she suffered a lot. And I had that contact with her. That was the contact I had with her the last time.
So you actually met with her in person, is that right?
I didn't meet with her. I called her on the phone.
And then what exactly did you tell her?
I was kind of apprehensive because you get scared. You see, they think I'm a murderer, but I'm not a murderer. I just defended myself. Besides that, I was afraid of them. They want to do something to me and my family. But anyway, when I found out about her situation, that she said she was abandoned by the victim's family because she lived with them, I called her. Who told you that?
Who told you that, ma'am?
It was Lillian, or actually not Lillian, it was Lillian's husband. They live very close to the house. And he told me kind of briefly about the situation she was in. So I said, no, it's difficult, but I'll call. I want to know, I want to ask for forgiveness. I want to tell her everything that really happened because I have nothing to hide, because I truly have nothing at all to hide. And
did you tell her what happened?
Yes, I told her everything in detail. We spent hours talking, you know? She really opened up about her life, about what she went through with him. I think I ended up feeling even sadder because it's like What I realized was that it was a relief for her.
And you didn't know her before?
No, I didn't know her. I had never spoken to her.
But did she actually know who you were?
The day I called her, she said, Denise, I have nothing to say about you because I don't know you. Yeah.
Because to the police, and also in her statement, she says that you were her husband's lover.
To me on the phone, she didn't say that. And
That you were too. And she was his wife, right?
so, having said that,
Actually, she did not say that to you.
yeah, actually, from what I saw, she kind of got confused. Because when I called her before anything happened, and it wasn't like that, in the sense,
Before everything, how?
before the hearings, right? Before she gave her statement, we talked beforehand, okay? That was when I called, offered my support, told her everything, apologized, right? Because I really have nothing to hide. And it was at that moment that she vented and she said, at no point did she tell me with absolute certainty that I was the mistress. Because as far as I know, he had countless others. Then, in fact, she was asked, after she said I was the mistress, if she had any messages from me, my number, on his phone. She said she did, but she didn't know if it was me or not. But there were some she recognized who were his mistresses, so they never had any proof at all. They even mentioned that the prosecutor asked her how she knew I had a threesome in bed. Something completely absurd. Then she said it was some man there, a drunk, who said it. So, there is no proof because I truly would never get involved even if I were single with someone like him. Never, never.
So, ma'am, he only met her later and
Only later, for sure.
I understood. And she denies that she was his lover.
Never I deny it to the end.
Another question. The lady knew Lilia.
Lilia?
Yes.
Lilia is Fernando's wife.
She was even the person that when you were desperate, you
Had
been beaten and such. Sometimes when you're in a situation like that, you turn to someone who is very close, someone you trust, someone you care about. So can I state all of this?
Yes, you can state it. Actually, when I called, it wasn't to her number, it was to Fernando's number. But they're married, so I can't answer now. At the time, she answered. But she's more like, not exactly a friend, but more of an acquaintance, let's say, right? Because a friend, is something more intimate. So just like my husband said, when she became Fernando's wife, we already knew Fernando, the family, so she became part of his family. So then, ma'am,
You told her afterwards. Did you go back to her house afterwards, ma'am? After you killed him, mom?
no, not at any moment. From there, I stopped. I was crying so much I didn't know what to do because I was in shock. So I had to go somewhere. So I went to my house with my husband and I told him, thank God, we're really close,
All right. So, ma'am, you deny that you went back to her house.
No, I didn't go back at any moment.
All right. Another question. You said you were beaten a lot by him, right? You were even kicked, right? Where did it happen? How did the assaults take place? Both during the first period and the second period? Because from what you said, you were beaten by him twice.
Yes,
Car, and then when it happened there, is that it?
from the car, that's right. When I got out of the car, right? From the car.
Could you describe where the assaults occurred on your body? And then later on, what happened when you went over to Christine's house?
There, he grabbed me by the hair, which was the first time when he arrived very aggressively, when he kind of did a sharp turn, He arrived really angry. And then he grabbed me by the hair and threw me, and we started that argument, that struggle. I said, I opened the door, letting him know I was going to open the door, that I was going to throw myself out because I didn't want to stay there. He stopped the car, and that's when he already slapped me a few times. Let's say at that moment it wasn't that bad because I wasn't angry. I was really worried about her, and that's why I said I was only worried about Chris. I wasn't even concerned about that aggression at the time. At the time, okay, but in some way he had already hit me, grabbed me by the hair and all that. When I went back, which was a very serious mistake, but I was thinking a lot about her. When I went back to look to see how she was, I said, Chris, she came, wow, are you okay? And he didn't give us time. That was the second time. Right there, he beat me a lot. Right there, he pushed past her. He started punching and kicking me, and I fell down. When I fell and tried to get up again, he kept kicking and punching me a lot. Then my little purse was right here beside me, the one with the small serrated knife I had brought. And then he grabbed me right here. When he grabbed me here, I told him, I'll let go. I did this at that moment, And then I looked and he was moving back like this. And then I left the place, started crying. I was just terrified. Terrified because I had never, gone through something like this.
Which area of the The body, you didn't tell me that he kicked, punched.
You? Yeah, belly, stomach, there wasn't any. There wasn't a place where he didn't hit me. That's the truth, you know?
Didn't it leave any marks?
It left marks. I was all bruised. Yeah.
That you went through all that, right? A very important note here. 3 days after you showed up, there was an injury report, and the injury report done on you shows injuries on your forearm, your arm, and your leg. No, there is nothing at all on your face, nothing on your belly, anyway.
Yes, but I had internal injuries, okay? I couldn't walk, you understand? So those bruises were just the lighter ones, okay? Because later I went through a bunch of tests and they proved that I was fine, you know? So that wasn't included, right? I would have, because I'm a woman, I can't match strength with a man, you understand? So if I hadn't been beaten so badly to the point where I was begging, for God's sake, stop hitting me, because I was screaming, stop, and he wouldn't stop. Even Christine, she was screaming, stop, and he wouldn't stop, right? That's when I said, get out. So honestly, he hit me a lot.
Christine screamed, stop!
Christine was screaming.
Why doesn't Roseanne, who lived across the street and is her sister, say that?
I can't say because there was a lot she didn't mention. Roseanne
was also trying to protect.
Yes, she didn't say a lot there. Roseanne knows me, right?
Roseanne knows you.
Roseanne knows me. Out of all of Christine's friends, I was the only one she talked to, okay? Because I was always there helping, trying to support her, right?
Okay, and the last question then. Why did he want to kill you, hit you? What did you say you did? That's it, because he wanted to kill you, right?
The way he was, yes. You
didn't even know him.
So he was very furious. I always wonder why he was so angry. That's a question I ask myself too. And at the time, in that moment...
Sorry to interrupt you, please continue. Because from what you're saying, he didn't even know you. He forced you, he chose you and forced you to get into the car against your will. Then afterwards, he wanted to kill you. Why so much anger towards you if he barely knew you?
So I always, like I said before, right? I always advised her. He knew one thing I'm sure of. He knew I didn't like him.
And
that I didn't want her to get involved with him. Because he was always violent, you know? So that could maybe be one of the reasons he was angry. Others, because he was drunk anyway, I can't really say, right? I was really surprised because he was a very out-of-control person, honestly, you know?
I see. And the last question is, why did you take days to go? Since you...
To turn yourself in?
Of course. Yeah, because, you see, when someone is acting in self-defense, there's no other conclusion to reach. That's just how it is, right? If you are acting in self-defense, you are...
That is right.
And the other person is wrong. That's all. It's not a matter of being right or wrong. There's no in-between.
With all due respect, sir, she has already answered this before.
She answered?
She did.
Why did she answer?
In court still. When questioned by the judge, she made a mistake about the reason there.
Made a mistake about what?
She made a mistake by returning because she was during the heat of the moment, at the time of the events.
I didn't understand.
She was, sir, she answered, right to your honor that she went back. To help her friend, that was made very clear.
But I understood the question you asked. Can I answer?
Yes, I'm asking her why she took so long to go to the police.
I'll answer. I understood your question. When I left that place, then I...
Just to finish my point?
Up.
Because there's another issue. If you show up right away, they just look at the injuries. Days went by and only some injuries on the arm and leg were shown. Of course, that's something that only the jurors can evaluate later, and I'm not going to keep arguing about it. But you are going to show up, your argument is legitimate. Defense, you tell someone to give you a bruise, to slap you days later. That's why it's important for who acts in legitimate self-defense, even the name itself says it, will legitimize their action. So go there at the time. Why did you wait days to go with the lawyer, ma'am?
So like I told you at the time, there I was very traumatized. So from there I went to my house. And just so you have an idea, I wasn't in any condition even by Monday. Can you imagine on the day itself? I wasn't in any condition. And I've never stopped telling the truth, always the truth. So answering your question, I wasn't in any condition, physically, mentally, in every way, you know? It may have been a mistake on my part, but I really wasn't in any condition.
And another issue, right, which is also quite important. Did you bring up the idea of the knife, the little kitchen knife you mentioned, right? Yes.
The knife, I remember that when I saw it. I looked at him staggering. I didn't see anything. I almost fainted at that moment. So I don't remember where the knife ended up because it was a little serrated knife, like the kind you use to spread butter. And when I pushed him and said, "Get out," the moment he staggered, I staggered too. Because seeing that situation, that scene, I left the place. But I must have gotten rid of it there or somewhere else. But exactly, I can't tell you because I don't remember. I really don't remember, you know? I was in shock. I don't remember. I looked at that person and said, "My God."
So at that exact point in time, you really do not know what you did.
I don't remember. I don't remember. It must have fallen or I threw it. I really don't remember.
That's it. Thank you.
No further questions. Good morning, Miss Denise. Miss Denise, in Christine's statement to the police, did she distort the facts there, as you mentioned, out of fear of being accused of something as well?
Yes, I believe so. Because either due to the fact of being a secret mistress, or perhaps because of the strong disapproval from her own family, she was someone who had to remain hidden from the public eye. She was afraid too, right? But even so, she still ended up having an argument with Fatima, who, as you know, was actually his current partner at the time, right? The two of them had contact over WhatsApp, like saying, "Hey, my husband is there," and the other would say, "No, I'm not. No, he's not here," you know? It was a mess, to be honest, you know? No. No, she has absolutely nothing negative to say at all about me. Because we have always been the very best of friends, as a matter of fact. We even had possible plans to study together. She graduated in psychology, and I ended up going into another field. But out of all the friendships there, I was always the welcome one. Always me.
Perfect. Nothing more. Excellent. Thank you very much, Ms. Belize.
Does the jury have any questions? No? All right then. You may conclude then, please. Dr. Lucas, your part. May we proceed? Okay. Juror, you now take the issues for judgment for the last time. I invite everyone to please stand for the reading of the verdict. Denise Amaral Fernandez, today we have held the trial regarding the accusation against you, and likewise regarding the accusation against the defendant Jackson Humphrey Andrade Diaz, who did not appear here. We heard witnesses here, you were questioned and gave your version of what happened. Afterwards, the prosecutor presented his case to the jurors as he saw fit, and in the same way the defense attorneys also spoke in favor. Not only on your behalf, but also on behalf of the co-defendant here, Jackson Andrade Diaz. At the end of all this, the jury council reached a conclusion, and that conclusion is present in the verdict, which I will now read. This reading will be summarized, though a bit lengthy, but afterwards you will have access to the full version if you wish. Thus, I will go straight to item 2, justification. By answering this set of questions, the jurors reached the following conclusion. First series, regarding the defendant Denise Amaral Fernandez. Item A, to acknowledge the existence of the act. Item B, to attribute authorship to the defendant. Item C, not to acquit the accused. And finally, item D, to recognize the crime as intentional against life. With regard to the second series, the defendant Jackson, Humphrey, Andrade, and Diaz, to acknowledge the existence of the act, but not to attribute participation to the defendant. And finally, the third and last question is rendered moot in accordance with Article 490, sole paragraph of the Code of Criminal Procedure. There are 3 provisions. In light of the above, and in accordance with the jury council, the accusation is judged partially well-founded. For the purpose of, under item A, convicting the defendant Denise Amaral Fernandez for the act described in Article 121 caput of the Penal Code, or, in other words, a conviction here for simple homicide. Under item B, to acquit the defendant Jackson Humphrey Andrade Diaz of the charge for which he was indicted. Item 4, 2003 of the sentence. I will dispense with reading the full reasoning and go straight to the final sentence, which is hereby set at 9 years and 6 months of imprisonment to be served initially in a closed regime. It is hereby ordered that the sentence be carried out immediately due to the sovereignty inherent in decisions of the jury court. In this way, then, I request that the clerk issue the arrest warrant and that the police force present here carry it out immediately. Execution. I will dispense with reading the remaining items. Curitiba, Jury Criminal Courtroom, March 21st, 2023. Dr. Lucas, on behalf of the Public Prosecutor's Office, any comments? Dr. Weasley, on behalf of the Public Defender's Office? Okay. Dr. Osvaldo, João Guilherme, and also Leandro, any comments? In this way, I would like to thank everyone present here, the Public Prosecutor's Office, the defense, the staff, the police escort, the outsourced service, especially the Sentencing Council, the jury members, the PUCs from the company, those present here in person, and also those online. In the absence of further remarks, I declare this session closed. I thank you. Thank you.